Hello and welcome to the first round recap slash second round preview of on the podcast that's called Pacific Perspectives.
What's funny?
That's. What do you mean? What's funny?
I am Nux Memes. That is Kyler Mimamoto, and that is our friend yet again, Peter. He somehow keeps weaseling his way back onto the podcast.
He was our second choice.
So in this, that is true. He was our second choice. He's the podcast host that stepped up, not the step podcast host. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, we're going to be talking about the playoff series that happened, playoff series that are going to happen, and the draft lottery is in about an hour, so we will be reacting to the draft lottery as well. Hopefully we can grind through it all so that we can end it off watching the draft lottery. Before we go any further, Xavier, everybody fucking hates you. Do you want to speak on that?
What?
Everybody hates you. Everybody online hates you.
Oh, I wasn't expecting you to throw me that.
You should always be expecting that.
I don't know. What do you want me to say?
I don't know. Why does everyone hate you?
You have to be self-aware.
The Oilers are too good. I think that's probably why. And
this isn't helping the allegation.
I'm very good about it.
Okay, so with that in mind, with that out of mind, let's go on to starting with the Atlantic. Let's start with Tampa, Florida, because, I don't think it's going to take us too long to get through that one. What do you guys think?
I really wish someone would have told me that Tampa, like half of their entire team,
everybody
was injured before I made that cup.
Seriously,
it would have been great to know that. Like, thanks, Cooper.
The original tweet was really funny. Bjorkstrand, too complicated to write. Sorelli, MCL sprain in Game 1. Glendening, AC joint separation. Gord, broke a finger in Game 1. Hagel, concussion. Hedman, broke foot Game 4. Kucherov suffered an injury in February he was managing, and Nick Paul had a tear in his left wrist.
Imagine if they had made it through. Like, that's what the Panthers looked like in 2023 when they made the Cup Finals. This was first round for Tampa. It doesn't really help that they were also being shoved into walls and sucker punched by Florida. That was a really dirty series from Florida, and I do not expect them to stop when they're playing Toronto. Absolutely, but yeah, it just wasn't really fun. It wasn't that interesting to watch, and I thought that the Battle of Florida this year would be more fun than it has been in years previous, but it was done in 5, and it's so hard to care about franchises that play in Florida.
This is the only series I did not watch a full game front to back. Every other game I watched at least 2. And in Minnesota's case, I only watched 1, but I caught bits of all of them. This one was just from the very get-go, just very lopsided. And
it was just it coincided with the Battle of Ontario so often throughout the series. Like, why would you watch the Battle of Florida when you can watch the Battle of Ontario?
That's a big thing there. I think
that's a good point.
You said it already. The only thing anyone's going to remember from this series is just the copious amounts of hits that should have been majors and weren't, and people got suspended for. It's actually going to be pretty interesting to see what happens against Toronto, because they have to tone that back, like the illegal hits. But like you said, they're not going to lay off the physicality. Like, that's just who Florida is. So I can imagine they're going to make one more hit like that and then immediately actually get punished for it, because the league probably sees all this happening and is like, okay, we didn't call it then. Maybe this could have been a suspension. Maybe it could have been more than 1 game, or it could have been more than a fine. Are they going to crack down on it harder because people are complaining, especially against Toronto? I'd like to see that.
Yeah, that's also a really good point.
With that being said, we can move on to the other series where penalties were a main focus, which is Toronto-Ottawa, I'd say. Toronto-Ottawa, it looked like it was going to be bad because it was 3-0 for Toronto. And then it looked like we were going to witness the funniest thing to ever happen in the NHL ever. It was kind of, I'd say it was an anticlimactic ending. just in Game 6.
Yeah.
Ended not that exciting, but there were some really good games in there. I mean, 3 straight overtime games with the most random heroes of all time, especially Simone Benoit. How the hell did Simone
Yeah, who are
Benoit
you?
just score an overtime winner?
Ducks legend.
I really
I
wanted
thought
that
that
Game 6 to go to OT. I really wanted it.
That would have been
Yeah.
amazing.
I thought the series was pretty good, but I think it deserved to go to 7. I think it was just like if that got to 7 after it was down 3-0, Ottawa was down 3-0, that would have been like no matter what the outcome was, it would have been amazing.
Hilarious, yeah.
What really?
Wow, you guys have nothing
I,
to say about
I
the
got
series
I
at all.
got I got plenty to say. I just want to make sure that you
Okay.
guys
I have
don't
a
want to
little
say
bit.
anything.
I'll end it with I live in Ottawa, so I watched the entire series with friends, and
Yeah.
I mean it's the closest that I'm going to feel to the stress of actually having my team in playoffs because the stress was in the air, and I could feel it seeping into my pores. But it was a fun.
That's
It was good
gross.
to watch, and now I mean we know who I'm cheering for now. So sorry, Ottawa, I'm a traitor now, but go Chris Tanev.
Why would you cheer for the Leafs?
Yeah.
Chris Tanev.
Cristiano.
It's disgusting. Yeah, this series, in those first 3 games that Ottawa lost, I think most people would say they deserved to win at least one of those, probably. And the overtime game that they won in Game 4, they probably didn't deserve that one. I think that was maybe a game that Ullmark actually stole, which didn't happen a lot. Ullmark was pretty bad, and I think that's one of the main storylines here. But this is one of those times when the cliche that, like, the main narrative that everyone's talking about with this series is actually true. The Senators just did not have the experience. They clearly were just so foot on the gas energy, and then they messed up, and then they couldn't play super hard on the forecheck, couldn't play hard on the boards. I mean, there were multiple times when I saw Toronto's D completely make the wrong move in the D zone on a breakout, mess up a couple times, but there's just no Ottawa pressure whatsoever. There's nothing. Even though they were out shooting them basically every single game, they did not play. They did not play like it was the playoffs, and I think they're going to have to learn to do that. They definitely, like, as the series went off, obviously they got the wins, and I think that's when they really started to realize, okay, this is how we play. But there's also a lot of vets like Giroux on the Senators, and they still did not really capture that playoff hockey kind of feel and game style. It just didn't feel like it was all there for the Senators. There's clearly something brewing, and I think I can kind of feel a little hopeful for them at least, even if I don't think they're like going to be a great team. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It was very disappointing from the Senators, as much as it's nice that they're in the playoffs and the Leafs are a solid team, but it felt like they easily could have taken it to 7 if they just played a legit playoff style.
I think a good optimistic point for the Senators is that their top players did perform.
Yeah.
Like Kachuk and Stützle did really good for their first postseason. I'm pretty sure Kachuk.
Well, before the series, I said I think that my top ghost prospect is Drake Batherson, one of their top players, who played like utter shit.
Yeah, that was a bit disappointing. But I feel like
You can keep going now.
no, the main focus being on Stützle and Kachuk, they were phenomenal. I think Kachuk had 4 goals that series.
Yeah, he was
Something
pretty
like
good.
that.
He was pretty good.
Yeah, no, he was awesome. Like, I had high expectations. I wouldn't have been shocked if Stützle kind of ghosted, but he was also really good. So I think that's a good optimistic point for them, is that Kachuk and Stützle had really good performances, and that their top 2 players, their top 2 forwards,
Yeah.
their star players, are gonna be able to perform in the upcoming postseasons.
I don't think Stützle was that good. I mean, 2 of his points were on empty netters in the one game, and he whiffed so many good opportunities. Like in Game 6,
Yeah, you're
when he was crashing the net, and he just fell.
Well, he definitely didn't take over, but I remember talking about this going into the series. They just needed to not be like Toronto's Big Four, where they perennially just can't do anything. And now Toronto's big four did pretty well in this series, I'd say. Besides Matthews, they all performed reasonably decent.
Really?
I think so. Yeah. Matthews only had the 2 goals, I'm pretty sure, and it felt like he was doing nothing the entire time. But yeah, I mean, I never fully expected the Senators to win. I expected them to make it a series, which they did. They did make it a series, even though it was a little late. But yeah, well, I don't know. We'll see what the Senators bring next year. Definitely, they want to have a divisional spot next year to get above the Panthers, maybe possibly get home ice, second place. I don't think they can win the division next year, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm not too excited. I'm not too high on the Senators like other people for their future. Sorry, buddy. Sorry. But just they just left me something. They just left me with something watching that series that really disappointed me every single game. There was no play. There was playoff intensity, but there was no playoff game. You know what I mean? And the Leafs, even the Maple Leafs, have at this point figured out how to play in the playoffs. They know very well what they have to do, even if they're not very good at it, which we can see by them almost losing the series. But yeah, it's just disappointing.
Okay, you got to tone down the yapping, bro. We have 12 series to go through. You just spent like fucking 5 minutes talking about the Ottawa Senators.
It's gonna be a long episode.
We're cooked.
So
And that's just the Senators.
Let's go on to the next series, which is Florida-Toronto. That's what we're at now for the second round. It starts tonight at 8 o'clock for me and Peter.
I thought it started at 5.
Shit.
It's
it's
no, it's the draft lottery.
Oh,
so
yeah, draft lottery. It's the only game on today.
My prediction, I'm saying Panthers in 6 because I think they're just gonna I think they're too physical for Toronto to handle.
Yeah.
Toronto doesn't really have those guys, and I mean they can totally ghost. Plus, Florida knows the secret to Stolarz because they're familiar with him. Maybe he knows the secrets of them, but I think Florida's just too powerful. You know, they have the experience now. They're a cup-winning team who has very great pieces all throughout the lineup, and they're apparently able to get away with murder. So I think I'm going to see Florida in 6. Hopefully Toronto can fight back a little bit, both physically and in terms of scoring. I obviously want Toronto to win the series, but yeah, I'm saying Florida.
Sergei Bobrovsky's just too good right now.
It's also a good point.
Peter,
you guys going to make your predictions or?
Yeah, no, I would say Florida in 5. Like everything that JC said, I just think Florida's that good. Like I went into the postseason saying that I feel like the winner of the Stanley Cup is going to be the winner of Florida Tampa. I don't see anybody stopping Florida at this point, and I'm not moved on Toronto at all. So I think Florida in 5. Though I really want Toronto to win. I fucking hate Florida, but
you don't think that if Dallas gets Heiskanen and Robertson back, they can't beat Florida?
It's like they're just so fucking they just what's the word I'm looking for? They're just so the whole entire
gritty.
Team from top down. They just know how to win games. Gritty, yeah.
Well-rounded.
Gritty was probably the word. Yeah, no, they're just a really well-rounded team. They're such a good defensive team. Like they just play team defense so insanely well, and it makes it really fucking hard. And I just don't know if any team is actually better than them, especially in a playoff context.
Toronto in 7. Just to be different. Just to be different. No, you know what? You're right. Panthers just objectively have a better team. They should have the better goalie. And I think the Panthers are a great example of something we're seeing recently in these playoffs. Especially, not necessarily the team as a whole, especially for goaltending and the star forwards, but so much of how good your blue line is just coaching. It's just coaching. Look at what Dallas was able to shut down Colorado with. That is just stupid. Just look at how good Nate Schmidt is playing after being on Winnipeg, and now he's on Florida. He had 2 goals. He almost had a hat trick. Florida, these guys have no business being a genuinely elite defensive team, and yet they do it. It's because it's a good coaching scheme. It's a good coaching scheme and it works. And when you have that buy-in and you know you've kept winning and you keep winning and you win in 5, the belief only gets stronger and they get even scarier. Now, with all that being said, I actually didn't love. I feel like they didn't really have any competition with Tampa. It feels like they didn't really have much to go through there. And when Toronto beat Ottawa, obviously, even with the injuries, I'd say Ottawa's definitely a worse team than Tampa. But they definitely had a lot more of a fight, and they definitely felt like they had more to prove. And I think health might be on the Leafs side somehow, except for Matthews, of course. Really, for me, it just comes down to, again, if Matthews can play a solid, well-rounded game, which he has in the past. He has done in the playoffs. Just need him to score. I just need that power play to actually be decent. The stat that we saw before they scored the power play goal in Game 6, they went 0 for 30 in series clinching games on the power play in the Matthews era. That is just stupid. Now they've broken that, and they can get past that. All these dumb records, like they haven't won a series since 2020 or 2000, whatever. Smash that in 2023. They're fine. They're fine. That being said, Florida should win, and that's why I'm going to pick Toronto.
Okay, so that
because it makes no sense.
There.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's move on.
So, Metro, down to the Metro. Please, dear God, can we skip past Carolina and New Jersey?
Yeah, Simone Nemitz.
I have nothing.
I love you, and he's on.
That was cool. It was cool to see that.
Which was cool, yeah.
I have not a single other thing to say about that series.
Sebastian Aho actually scored.
Yeah,
that's about
Aho
it.
is a really good 1C. He's awesome. That's about it.
Yep.
Okay,
So that's
so Washington, Montreal. Which, Xavier, you thought Washington, Montreal was more exciting than Toronto, Ottawa. That was like the one thing about your tier list that I didn't get.
I thought
I agree with
games 1 to 4, they probably had one of the most exciting series in there. Maybe besides Edmonton and the Kings. But I don't know. I just loved it. It's a really alluring storyline. You know, the rookie team is coming out. It's their first time playing the Capitals with old Ovi, who was really good in this series. And even though it ended in 5, the first game went to overtime. It felt like the Habs genuinely had a chance. And they went from being like, why are you in the playoffs, to they actually played pretty well. They did play pretty well. Their top guys, that's really key here, their top guys performed. Lane Hudson, few mistakes, few just gut-wrenching, oh my goodness, what are you doing moments. But I felt as the team as a whole, I really liked how their blue line performed, but they got bullied physically, and you can just tell that they didn't really have many options at forward. They didn't have many reliable guys that they can go to besides like the big four, and they didn't even really trust Demidov at points. I thought he maybe should have gotten more ice time, but just looking at two teams at different parts of their development, really.
Yeah, that's a good point. Dylan Strome, for some reason, had like 10 points. Him
For
being
some
good.
reason, he's been good all year.
Yeah, I know. I was really low on the Capitals going into the season. I was low on everything, especially Dylan Strome being the 1C. And he's just still fucking insane for some reason.
Goat fantasy pickup.
You have to say about the.
Yeah, no, a big reason I really liked Montreal going into the series was because they just got Demidov, and I thought he really could be a game-changing piece, and he really disappointed me. I feel like he didn't do much. Like, I know you said he could have gotten more ice time, but it's not like he earned it. He didn't really do
No, he
much.
didn't, but, like, nobody on that team in the bottom 9 has any skill whatsoever. Like, it's Christian Dvorak and Brendan Gallagher City. Like,
Dvorak wasn't that bad.
No, they weren't bad. It's just they're not changed. They're not even affecting the game at all.
Yeah, they're not needle movers.
No,
in their roles.
Not at all.
I thought the series was fine. I really liked Game 3. I had Celtics basketball on. It Celtics and Habs, the two series coincided for a lot of the time. But for Game 3, I made sure to have Habs on the big TV with audio on because I wanted to hear the crowd pop when they scored, and it was amazing. Um, I don't think there's a better atmosphere for the playoffs than Montreal. I'm confident in that. I don't like any atmosphere. If you say Edmonton, I will fly there and kill you.
Edmonton.
Yeah, there's literally no world where Edmonton's is better than Montreal.
No, I'll take that answer. I won't even fight you on that. Edmonton was pretty
So
good though.
they deserve better. I wish that it could have gone back to Montreal for Game 6, so we could have gotten one more. But yeah, it wasn't better than Toronto, Ottawa. It was fine, but I feel like it was always going to be Washington that won that.
Yeah, yeah.
No matter
feel
how
like-
much we wanted a miracle run.
I feel like all of the Tom Wilson shit made it so much more exciting than the Battle of Ontario.
I mean, that's what made Game 3 Game 3
was-
was maybe the best of the first, not the best of the first round, but probably like top 5 of the first round.
Yeah.
Them
Yeah,
fighting
that
on the
was
bench, what the
awesome.
fuck?
That was so fucking insane.
Yeah.
There were some banger
part I
games.
like.
There were some banger games this first round. This was a really good first round, I gotta say. Except for
awesome.
the East. All these East series we're going over, man.
Just New Jersey and
If
Carolina.
we had a
Every
fully
West
healthy
series was
New
better than
Jersey,
every East series.
yeah,
A fully healthy New Jersey would have made it a really good series.
yeah,
Okay, so let's go on to it's Carolina, Washington, which is probably it's definitely out of the 4 series we have the one I'm least looking forward to.
really,
I don't really care. Yeah, by far. It's like I like Toronto, Florida. That's fun. And then we'll get to the other ones, but the ones in the West are way better than. I think it's just because this one
Yeah.
involves Carolina, and I don't care about
I
Carolina.
have a feeling that Toronto, Florida is going to be really boring games, even though I think it's going to end up being like 6 or 7. It's just going to be a bunch of like 3-1, 2-0, 5-1, like boring
I was just
20
gonna say
shot
big
apiece
goalies.
games. But I don't know.
If you
I
don't
feel
like
like
that, you don't like hockey.
I don't. Well, I guess I don't like hockey. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna resign from my. I'm gonna resign from my post at Pacific Perspectives Management.
Rory's taking over for you.
Okay, so
Oh.
I'll say saying Washington in 5. This
Really?
is similar to
Really,
the
in
Carolina
5.
New Jersey series, where I just hope it's over soon, so I don't really have to like.
I
fight
think it's
care
gonna be a
about it.
great series. It's probably
I
gonna be
think
a
it's gonna
great
be a great
series.
series.
It's one of the
Probably gonna be
closest of the
competitive.
second round, I think.
It is going to
No.
be close. I find it funny that it's like the highest shooting percentage, lowest expected goals team against
Ah,
the lowest shooting percentage,
that's
highest
a good
expected goals team.
storyline.
That is a really funny
Oh my
storyline.
god, you guys are such losers.
Washington.
Holy,
It's gonna
okay.
be
I'm
shots are
saying-
gonna be 40-20 Carolina, and Washington's gonna win.
Yeah, exactly. It's literally going to be like a replay of Rangers Carolina
Yep.
from last year, something like that.
I'm saying Washington in 5 because I feel like I need to have one series that only goes like 4 or 5 games, and I'm not giving that to anything in the West. So
Yeah.
Washington in 5.
I'm gonna
I'll
say
say
Washington
Washington.
in 6. Oh, okay, we agree. Okay.
What's next?
We're just that you were done there. You guys don't have anything to say about.
What a great
I mean,
transition.
I already
No,
set the
I'm cool with this. Let's go to the
storyline.
Central.
Washington.
Well, we're gonna
6.
start with Winnipeg, St. Louis, the one that is the most fresh on the brain.
Oh,
I had
yes.
St. Louis winning this series, and I feel like looking back, I mean, it definitely isn't a stupid guess. That was my one upset of the first round, and I mean, it really could have gone either way. It went to overtime in Game 7. I'm pretty happy with the fact that I made that guess. It would have really, really made me look smart, but I mean, getting it wrong doesn't make me look stupid because of the way they lost. But that series was decent.
Yeah.
It was mainly fun to watch Hellebuck give up goals. That was the main selling point of this series. The Game 7 last night was great, went to double overtime. Eventually, I mean, I felt bad for Binnington, and I didn't expect to feel bad for Binnington, but after his
Oh
heroic
my
performance
God.
at the Four Nations, he's on my good side. I felt really bad because they got outshot, I think 19-9 in the 2 overtime
He
periods.
played his heart out.
He really didn't deserve that. And it was just a tip shot. Like it wasn't even. He didn't let in a leaky one at all. It was a tipped shot. So
Yeah.
like, teams got to get it out of the zone. They had their chances too. I think Booch put it like way over Hellebuck's shoulder or something that one time when he had a breakaway. But it was a pretty fun series, and I mean it's nice that Winnipeg is advanced because I think they're gonna make for a more interesting second round team than St. Louis would have. But
Oh,
shout out
absolutely.
to Cam Fowler. Unk
Yeah.
still got it. That was crazy.
That
That
was
was the
awesome.
most mind blowing performance of the first round for sure.
Made no
100%. 10
sense.
points for Cam
Games.
Fowler
Made
in
no sense.
2025.
Into big 2025.
Yeah.
You know, I was kind of cheering for St. Louis just on the basis of they would be a very, very easy out if somehow they made it to the conference finals and we also made it past Vegas. They were
Fowler
truly
would've put up 20 on you.
they were truly an awful, awful team. Like
Yeah.
they were probably maybe even worse than New Jersey, I think. They really, really sucked. And they show it in the double overtime where they ended up getting outshot. They had maybe one chance
Understated.
out of both overtimes. I think there was one genuine scoring chance. I think it
really
was
bad.
the Buchnevich drive off the wall, and that's all they had. But a Dylan Holloway-less St. Louis Blues, I thought would have never stood a chance against the Jets. But I mean, minus 11 goals saved above expected in one series. How are you that bad? How are you that bad? You are so bad that you made the Winnipeg Jets defense actually play good.
Lock in.
It's really
Bro,
funny
Hayden
to
Fleury
me
had the game
that
of his life.
Hellebuck's regular season comparable is like prime Carey Price, and his playoff comparable is Stuart Skinner.
Even
Genuinely.
Stuart Skinner was way better at least closing out series.
Well, no, like in the first
Regular
round,
season Stuart Skinner.
playoff Stuart Skinner.
Game 1 to 4 playoff Stuart Skinner.
Look at that.
Well,
There's bottom two.
it
won't focus.
It
won't
cannot
focus.
see that.
That was my
It
problem.
won't focus.
Ago.
Stop focusing.
It
won't
like,
focus.
It's flashing.
I could see a Connor Hellebuck.
I could see the
Stuart Skinner
871.
That's Connor Hellebuck. That's Stuart Skinner.
You know
They're
what? I
bottom
can make it
two.
out. 810.
830.
Wow.
Oh,
830 and winning the
that
series.
smell. Oh God.
I got a little
PU.
better there.
Yeah, you know what? For the Jets,
So Vazzy is down there.
yeah, that's crazy. And Kemper.
Don't smile.
Weird.
like that.
Weird. He
Kemper
didn't
wasn't
make
even
it.
that far down there. Kemper was.
He has like an
There were
882.
6 people below Kemper.
That's the next series.
I have his save percentage memorized.
What was it?
882.
It was 889.
No!
Oh.
You dumbass. It was only like barely worse than Pickard's too, which is fun.
Anyways, the Jets, like Hellebuck having an 830 and the Jets still winning does look very good on them, I must say. They are really injured. They are really injured still. So that's a weird thing to look at going into the next round. But yeah, getting St. Louis to take you to 7. With that being said, if Hellebuck is regular Hellebuck, this is a sweep. I think most people, at least 5, I think most people would say that. That game 7, that's an absolute classic. That was an absolute classic. I watched most of the game and then went and did other things for the third period. Came back for probably the last I turned it on at the exact moment that they scored the second goal. And I'm like, okay, so this is a game. That's cool. Let's watch the last 2 minutes. Ehlers flubs the puck 3 different times. And I'm like, yeah, you're going to China. You're done. Your time as a Jet is over. You are gone. And then they tie it.
I was so ready to hate. I was so ready to hate watching him flub those 2 shots.
Yeah,
I was so ready.
like,
I
oh
had
my
the hate
goodness.
typed out and everything. I have to say, Arnell coached that overtime so fucking good for a guy who's only coached 2 times 10 years ago and never made the playoffs. That was such an insanely well coached overtime. Like they held the puck for like 90% of both overtimes.
Yeah.
It was insane. And that was the whole fucking thing. They just had possession and they were just shooting. Everything just went to the net. They didn't even try to like make any good plays. They just knew the only way they were winning was through shit, and they were shit at some point because they were just that dominant on the puck. St. Louis had absolutely nothing.
Yeah. You could just feel it the entire overtime. It was going to be a point shot tip. It was going to
inevitable.
be something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to what I think was easily the best series of the first round. Dallas, Colorado. I'm pretty annoyed that a lot of these games were happening at the same time as Edmonton, LA, because my priority lied in watching that series. But that series was insane, and it likewise ended in a game seven. And I think that I enjoyed this game seven more than I enjoyed the Winnipeg St. Louis game seven, even though a lot of people disagree with that. I don't think it needed to go to overtime to be insane. And that third period, Mikko Rantanen just out of nowhere deciding I'm not getting sent home by this fucking team. That
Oh,
was
man.
crazy. And oh man, when he got that hat trick, I was thinking like I saw some star up the ice with the puck going towards the empty net. And I was
course,
thinking,
Pat,
there's
right.
no way it's him, right? There's absolutely no way it could
It was
possibly be
always
him.
going to be him.
And then you hear Sean McDonough going, Rantanen
Fucking,
again.
oh my god, his voice is so annoying.
The voice crack.
I really liked him in that third period. I thought the way he said Rantanen was good. I liked
Like-
it. I liked his calls.
The thing, I don't know, like his voice, his voice cracks just sound annoying to me. He sounds like he's a prepubescent teenager rather than somebody excited.
He did voice crack on the empty netter. That is something that happened.
Like the voice cracks for commentators aren't bad, but like I don't know, his voice is just weird to me. It annoys me.
Anyway, it was a great series, and I mean Dallas was missing Heiskanen and Robertson. They still
won.
took down Colorado. I mean, there is no world. The fact that this had to be a first round series is so depressing because Winnipeg and St. Louis just got to frolic through a fucking field together, while Dallas and Colorado
Is
are
that
in
what you call it?
an absolute war zone. Not a Call of Duty reference. It was incredible. It deserved to be at least second round. I would love that would be an amazing conference finals if that were even like possible for it to happen. Hopefully next year we can get it in the second round.
Yeah. By the way, guys, it's 7:00.
Let's check.
Okay. Wait, Xavier, say your thing and then get the stream up.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, it happened a lot during Edmonton, LA. So I didn't catch game 3, 4, 5, but man, some of those games, especially game 6, just crazy, insane. On the same level that some of the games with LA and Edmonton were just like, why, like this has no business happening in the NHL. Like it's just insanity. And then to cap it all off, game 7, Rantanen hat trick. I had money on Cody Ceci scoring, so I think it's my fault that didn't happen. And I was really disappointed that there was a post. I don't know if it was ESPN or one of those big accounts. They showed the Game 7 heroes. Or it was NHL actually. Cody Ceci was not on there. Didn't like that.
Disgusting.
Didn't like that at all. I was I was disgusted. I was frankly disgusted.
I had money on Mason Appleton yesterday to score the overtime
You
winner.
didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't. Lowry
Yes, I
was
did.
honestly an obvious choice. I was thinking him. I think I predicted Perfetti because I was being a loser. But
Caught up in the excitement.
yeah, caught up in the excitement. The lottery is
I
not
just-
on
I
right
just
now,
watched.
but it shall be shortly. They always say these
Peter, do you
things
have
are
anything,
at 5 o'clock, but it's not.
Yeah, no, Brock Nelson is washed. That's also another takeaway. He's just
Yeah,
Oh my
Okay.
goodness, yeah. Can we talk about
he's
that?
cooked. He's cooked. He's so cooked. He's just washed. It's over.
They gave up
He's getting like 3 million from
a
Minnesota.
first, a second, another second, Cal Ritchie for Charlie Coyle, who's got another year, and
Yeah.
Brock Nelson, who's going to Minnesota for $8 million. So
We can get a first for Brock Besser.
oh yeah, that's true. And you know what? They're getting Besser as well. Bring every Minnesota guy.
Yeah,
Come on.
Yeah.
I have to
I
say,
can't believe like how could Besser not get a first when he's like a proven playoff performer
yeah,
from last year, but Brock Nelson gets that haul.
Well, didn't Carolina want to give a first for Besser, and then
It
they
was-
ran out of time?
Yeah, well, yeah, it was reported that like right before the deadline they offered a first.
They
But
ran
like,
out of
how did
time.
they struggle to find anybody who wanted to give anything for Besser? I know he wasn't having a. Anyway, it's not about the Canucks. It's fine. Our second round series is Dallas Winnipeg, which is maybe the most interesting, possibly. I mean, both of the West series are cooler than both the East series again. Dallas, Winnipeg, it could be close. I mean, if Hellebuck plays if Hellebuck can put up an 880, then this series is competitive. That's all he needs to do. An 880, and this series is competitive. It's not like Ottinger is amazing. I don't think he's as bad as Xavier does for some reason.
He's not bad. He just the clutch moments.
But I think it's gonna be a fun series. I will say Dallas in 6. That is my prediction there. I think Dallas takes it. They just look too good, and if they get Robertson and or Heiskanen back for any of the games, like how are they stoppable?
I mean, they should be on paper better. I'm gonna say Dallas in 7. I think it's gonna be another 7-game series, and these guys are just gonna be absolutely beat up at the very end of it. Winnipeg is weird to me because they have the potential to win a cup here, but they're just injured. And Dallas is more injured technically, but it feels like Winnipeg is hurt all over on the blue line. Top forward, Scheifele, Morrissey, like that's pretty hard. And Dallas feels a little more deeper, and we can see that they can actually mitigate those losses a lot better. But I don't know. This is honestly the hardest series to predict, and like you said, it's probably the closest. But yeah, well, what interests me is to see if Heiskanen can come back. I think he's even more important than Robertson, and if Hellebuck can actually be good. So we'll see with that. I don't know.
I honestly do not feel the same way at all. I think Dallas in 6 very confidently, because I think Hellebuck is going to choke really bad, as he always does, and I'm also not moved on the center def. Like I will never be moved on Vladislav Nemestikov being B2C. Their forward def lining up with Dallas is just so fucking weak in comparison. It's just so goddamn weak in comparison. And like, at least their X factor would be Connor Hellebuck being the best goalie in the world, and he's just the lights are way too bright every single year. And I think Ottinger, in terms of playoff goaltending, is just like great. I feel like he's a bit inconsistent, but more so he's really good most of the time. Like I think it's Winnipeg's gonna make it a series, but I'm really confident when I say I think Dallas takes it in 6.
I could definitely see
it. It looks for a second like we had Michael Misa as a guest on the pod.
Oh, now there we go.
So what are your thoughts on the series? What are your thoughts on the series,
Michael? Okay, let's muscle through the Pacific section. Okay. Xavier, I know you want to yap a lot, so but
gotta make it quick. Gotta leave it
not as much as you can, because we got to be done this before the lottery actually starts. So we're gonna start with Minnesota Vegas. I don't think any of us really have that much of a stake in that, but it was a good series.
It was a great.
Some good games. Yeah, a couple good overtime games, and Minnesota
does what Minnesota does.
Round. Yeah. But it was a good series. I didn't really pay that much attention to it. But where are we at right now?
Are they drawing the balls?
From Erston Young, he'll unclip.
He is. Whoa, okay. They are drawing the balls.
Briefcase there, and
get an ad blocker, bro. You block.
1.
The balls.
2.
So remember last year,
all right, they're just throwing. No way they're doing this for all 15.
3.
They got to make it as clear as possible
4.
that it's
and
not
Chris
rigged.
loading the lottery machine with 14 balls numbered 1 through 14.
5.
Oh, I saw a piece of metal in that one. Nope,
4
rigged.
balls in each. If we get 11, 12, 13, 14,
11.
that will be a redraw, so we can proportionally assign an even 1,000 combinations.
12.
What?
Again,
All right,
based
come on
each
now.
team's
It doesn't
winning
take that long to
percentage.
drop them into the machine.
13.
Locked in.
I'm 30 seconds time to next ball.
Release the balls into the machine.
This
And
is
please start the
shameless.
machine.
This is shameless.
They're 30-second
Thomas,
intervals
please
between
start the clock.
each individual ball.
So
That
Thomas
actually works.
Meany starts the
Oh
30-second
my-
clock.
Oh
He's
my
toward us, so he's not
God.
looking at- Here comes ball number
Okay.
1.
Wow. Draw.
First ball is.
Oh yeah, I
number
wish that I
7.
knew my
So lucky
team's
number
numbers.
7. How does that affect the percentage to win the draw? Here we go. So San Jose, you actually move up. Your percentage has increased. Chicago goes down. That was a good
That's
ball for
pretty cool.
Philadelphia fans.
Philadelphia
and so
goes
on
up.
down the line.
Seattle.
Kraken. Good ball for them, not good for Boston.
Like,
Thomas,
yeah.
we went
please
down.
start the
So are
clock.
we supposed to
Tucker got
know
eliminated
all of the
immediately.
30 more
letters?
seconds till ball number 2 comes up
Calgary
again.
already
We'll
eliminated.
have 4
PDF.
balls
I have the
drawn to
PDF up
decide.
right now.
Thomas.
Oh my
please
gosh, the
start clock.
Islanders.
We
Oh my
keep our
goodness.
draft pick.
So
The
ball
Islanders.
number
Oh my
3,
goodness.
After this ball comes up, we'll
No,
be able to
no,
tell you
I would, like, actually
what
kill
teams
myself
are
live
left
on the-
with a
on the
chance to
podcast.
win.
Draw.
Oh, what?
Ball number 3.
12. Give me 12.
Ball number 3.
Bang! How did I know?
12, 7, 11, and now 12.
I guarantee
What
you
does
that means the
do?
Islanders win.
Okay,
Oh my
Nashville,
goodness!
You are out. Bruins fans out. Ducks and Rangers. Look at the Chicago Blackhawks. The
Islanders,
the
Pittsburgh.
Penguins, and
I'm making a
ball. But
post.
first,
I took a photo
quick
of that.
timeout.
A quick timeout!
We'll reveal the winner, and don't
Oh.
forget
What do you
the
mean?
Panthers and
Oh,
Maple
Vegas,
Leafs
Minnesota,
from
right,
Toronto
guys?
on ESPN
Okay.
And Sportsnet. Puck drop at 8 p.m. The NHL draft.
That pisses
Are
me
we
off.
actually going to talk about
All right,
Vegas, Minnesota?
Minnesota. We got 5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that's more than enough time.
Okay, wait. I'm so confused. Are they drawing for first overall right now?
Yes.
Because there are 2 lotteries, right? There's 2 draws.
Yeah, it's first and second overall.
So they're doing first.
Yeah, they're doing. Yeah, they're doing first overall first.
Okay.
What?
I've been so confused.
Oh,
Yeah, first overall is first.
okay. Yeah,
So
that
there's still a chance for us.
confuses me a lot. Okay,
Vegas, Minnesota.
Vegas, Minnesota. Kaprizov really showed that he was like the guy.
Goat.
And I heard Friedman talking during 32 Thoughts that he's going to be the highest paid player ever, and he's going to be the highest paid player in AAV next in 2 years, I guess.
I wouldn't doubt that.
Yeah, we can't be talking about his contract. We got to grind through this.
Like
Yeah.
more
What
than
about the series
McDavid.
so far?
The series. See, again, I didn't
That's
watch
what we
all the
expect.
games, but I did love. I watched games 1, 2, and 6, and I thought they were great. Vegas just clearly was more in tune with what they were doing. They clearly were more of a team, and Minnesota looked like a team that had just gotten back a lot of players, and they just didn't. They looked like a team that didn't have 20 million in cap. They were clearly the worst, not the worst, the worst team in this series. But it was really great to see that Gustafsson actually put up a very good fight.
Yeah.
So it looked like they have a legit starting goalie who was better than Hill in that series, I thought, for sure. And their top scoring actually came through. Zuccarello, Kaprizov, they were great. Maybe wanted a little more from Ek, but like he's not a ridiculous scorer, at least not expected to be. So
Okay.
Oh.
LA Edmonton then? Peter, did you have anything to say?
No, just that Kaprizov is that guy. He had 9 points, and all of them were primary points in the 6 games. He was amazing, and he's going to continue being amazing.
Okay. LA Edmonton?
I don't
I'll go fast because I know Xavier's not going to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I see.
Drew Doughty sucks so incredibly bad. Kuzmenko had a great series and has definitely earned himself an NHL contract somewhere.
Not with,
And I'm happy
not
that
with the Kings.
Why not with the Kings?
Did you not see his interview?
No, what did you do? No.
He just was very non-committal.
Oh, okay. Well, if he wants to stay in the NHL, he has a path, and if he wants to go home, then that's going to be up to him. I'm sure someone will give him a contract based off of that, though. And I'm happy that Podkolzin got 4 points. I hope he scores against Vegas. That's all I have to say. I'm going to go back to making my post.
You know, I'm going to go and say really quickly that everything lined up perfectly for LA except for their Vezina finalist goaltender not playing like one. I mean, they had Kempe scoring like crazy. They were containing McDavid to a degree, like he wasn't scoring 3 a game. That was really a really good opportunity for them to finally do it. I was so confident in them, but it just wasn't their year. Everything didn't go right for them. One thing went wrong. A couple things went wrong. And yeah, no, I fell for it again. Edmonton won. You go, Xavier.
I don't know if we have enough time for, at least before the draft lottery, for what I'm going to say about it. 13. Oh! Islanders won it.
Motherfucker!
Live
Yeah,
New
we got
York
audio.
resident.
No.
That was the Islanders, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Are we able to get audio? Where's the audio?
Oh yeah, audio.
Upper Deck NHL draft belongs to the New York Islanders.
Do
Oh
you
my
believe in
goodness.
miracles, Kenny Morrow?
What the
Because your team has pulled it off. We can start the second draw.
Chris, please release the balls.
The balls.
Please start the
Please
machine.
release the balls. Are they drawing the fourth ball completely off camera?
Yeah, we have to worry about
Vision
Cam
for the Islanders
Cosentino.
based on a prospect pool that leaning right now a little on the forward
But
side.
I guess it's not
Heading
really
Schaefer's
completely off
perfect
camera.
play.
They're
Thanks
just
so
in
much,
the
Cos.
they're in the
As
cut
always,
corner.
They're in the corner, dude.
Yeah,
Bro,
for
like,
the
this
first
is
time in
literally
16
Michael
years,
Misa,
the
and
Isles
they just
picked
don't-
first.
oh, there we go.
Calgary.
Was John
Calgary's
Calgary.
Kevin
Oh, the
Wilson
Rangers are out again,
talking
okay.
with Kenny Morrow
That's awesome.
and Sam Cosentino. We did
Please
the
be
first
Boston.
three
That would be
balls
so
of the
funny.
second draw, and this is where
That
we
wouldn't be
stand.
funny, actually.
The Islanders,
Wait a
they're
minute.
out, so we don't have to.
Well, it's gonna be
lose
San
them.
Jose.
Meanwhile,
It's gonna be San
Calgary
Jose. It's gonna
a
be.
decent chance
It
to
better
move
be
up 10 slots.
If it's fucking
The
Calgary,
Bruins
I'm
have
gonna
a good
cry.
chance
That'd
to
be
number two.
ridiculous.
18% chance.
That
And
would be
these are the
awesome.
balls each team
2,
needs.
6, 8.
You
Okay,
see
if it's
San
3
Jose
or
is in
9.
good shape.
They have
Either
a
2,
four
6,
out.
8, or 11.
I'm cheering for
And
Utah
they
here,
only fall
big time.
From 1 to 2. Nashville's got 2
Don't be
with
3 or
4 and
9.
13, and Boston has 2, 7 and 14. One chance for Chicago at 10, or suddenly they see
In
themselves
between is
slipping
Vancouver.
down the board as well. So one more
We
vote,
all
Mr.
care.
Commissioner.
Thomas,
We've
please
never
start
won a
the
draft
clock.
lottery. It's been
So Thomas
55
Meany
years.
starts the clock.
All right, who's it gonna be?
25 seconds
Our
till
first
ball number
draft
4
lottery
is
ever,
revealed.
like
Again,
Connors'
the
first
Islanders
draft lottery
have
ever,
already moved up
was
all the way from
between
10 to
them
1.
and
They will
Buffalo.
pick first this summer.
And not only
Now
did we
will
lose the
determine
draft lottery
who
for
has
the
second
amateur
overall
draft,
pick.
we also
In
lost the
Los
draft
Angeles
lottery
at
for the
2025
expansion
Upper
draft.
Deck NHL draft.
We've never
on
won a
June
draft lottery. We had
27th and
the
28th
odds of us
in
winning
Los Angeles.
one of the
Here it
two
comes.
was 75%.
What number will it be for the second overall pick?
3 or 9.
Draw.
No!
Number 3.
Yeah! What? Oh my goodness!
So to get the official
Can't we have my
tabulation
things?
from Scott Clark
What
of
the
Ernst & Young. But you
I actually really liked how they did that lottery.
Yeah, no, that was really fun. Like, I thought it was gonna be really anticlimactic, but that was a lot of fun.
Like how they dwindle down the odds. I think they should have done the exact same thing with the second ball, and instead of that stupid conversation with Weekus. But
Yeah, that was really.
You just call him
yeah.
weakest.
Weekus.
Kevin Weeks.
How do we know the ball was not weighted?
Hey, Xavier, can you just talk about the Oilers so
Yeah,
that I
talk
can
about the
go make
Oilers.
food?
Yeah, I'm hungry too. All right, strap yourselves in.
I don't have a seatbelt, but I can.
I'm gonna start off with
I'm a good
saying, if let's rank the Kings
Oh, you would
and
do
Oilers series, the 4 that they've played here.
Okay.
I'd put 2022 first. I'd put the 5-game series, the whopping fourth last. I'd put the 6-gamer in third, and then I'd put what we just did here, the other 6-gamer, in second. This was great. The first game could have been the greatest comeback in like playoff history, like one of them. The second game was just absolute dog, just terrible. The Oilers did not show up, and at that point, I hadn't given up on the Oilers, but I had figured that Skinner was done. I don't have any trust in Pickard, and the team just looks very injured. It looks very injured, and it kind of still did by the end of the series, which is why it's so weird that they ended up winning, and not only winning, but winning very convincingly. I think in Game 3 they had a pretty bad game, and that one definitely for sure the Kings just kind of shot themselves in the foot. They did get out-battled physically for sure, and that was really a great game for Kane to play in front of the home crowd, throw some hits, make some energy, get right to the net, and throw it in, and just... that goal should not be happening. If you are seriously trying to compete in the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Kane goal where he just taps it in during that scrum, you can't be allowing stuff like that. Teams that win the Stanley Cup do not challenge Kane there and just throw him out of there. That's just ridiculous. Honestly, I'd be completely upset at that as a Kings fan. And then the challenge, I didn't think it was that stupid. People are calling it like the worst challenge of all time. I don't know about that. Not that I know of a worse challenge, to be honest. But that is a turnaround in the series, and obviously they won 4 straight with that. But I don't think that was where the series like completely turned. They came out in game 4 actually playing pretty well. They probably should have won that game if Byfield just wasn't a complete moron. And then it would have been 3-1. And then sure, the Oilers could have taken it to 7, but can they win 3 straight then? And then win in LA in game 7? I don't know. That would have made me a lot more nervous. But after game 4, and for the entire third period and the overtime of game 4, they completely took over, and the Kings did not muster a genuine scoring chance for the last half of that game. Just sad. Just completely sad. People want to talk about the penalty in game 4. That was a trip. There definitely were like 10 worse trips that went uncalled in that game, and that's what pisses people off. Even me. There's no standard. It was a horribly officiated series. Not because of the things that were called, but for the things that weren't. Just on both sides, too. God. Sometimes they just make the games a ref fest, and it's... Especially the first game. God, that sucks. But either way, after that, Game 5 and Game 6, the Kings didn't really want to play. In Game 6, the goals they did have weren't great chances, especially the second goal on Pickard was kind of just Pickard being bad. You mentioned that Kemper wasn't great. I actually think he was good. I think he was good. He did his job, especially in Game 5 and 6. He really shut it down at points. Like, it was hard for the Oilers to get goals. There were a couple goals I didn't love, but, well, I mean, I do love them, obviously. but like, I wouldn't like him if I was a Kings fan. Yeah. I don't know. I'll let you talk. I'll let you talk.
Yeah, no, it's just that, like, I don't know. In Game 6, I really thought he wasn't good. I mean, like, you're a finalist, and you're a big reason as to why the team is successful. You shouldn't be getting outplayed by Calvin Pickard in any context at all. That was really fucking bad. I mean, like, I don't know. He was just really disappointing. And, like, again, like, when we're talking about the Oilers, the big story every single time they're in a playoff series is the other goaltender is going to be better. And all Kemper had to do was just play as he always did, and he just didn't. And oh my god, like,
Kemper was better than Pickard, but Kemper had to face McDavid, and Kemper had Drew Doughty defending for him. I don't know if there were times where I just watched what Drew Doughty's doing.
Oh my goodness,
Drew Doughty was
bad. Two of your 3, possibly even your 2 best defensemen, Brant Clark and Jordan Spence, and you refuse to play them.
Yeah,
you refuse to play them.
Head scratcher. Jordan Spence, they're actually such good defenders. I don't know why they hate them so much. It's so weird.
Mikey Anderson was playing terrorism hockey. He had like a 30% expected goals for percentage in this series. Awful.
I played with Doughty a lot.
True, but he's also not good. But Doughty especially, man, he got gamed by McDavid. And I actually thought, again, the Kings really held McDavid, quite literally, they held McDavid pretty well. They contained him pretty good. Draisaitl is obviously a little bit banged up, missing Ekholm. Frederick didn't look like he could even skate more than 1 stride until Game 4. Kane also just completely banged up until he came back, I guess. I guess he's fine now, even though he just has some really frustrating penalties. Most of this team, this Oilers team, feels like they're battling something. Jake Wallman, Brett Kulak, both had pretty significant, not Brett Kulak, but Wallman had a pretty significant injury that will probably get brought up if they get out of the playoffs eventually. Brett Kulak was dealing with something. John Klingberg just coming off of not playing for like a month and a half. The only guy who's like genuinely 100% might actually be McDavid, who had just missed a couple weeks, and Bouchard, who was apparently, according to Puck Empire, the series MVP.
I bet you.
I really don't like the look on your face. I'm really not a fan of it. Okay, are you done talking about Edmonton, LA?
I think I will be. Yeah, I'm more just mad at how the Kings lost. Like, you are so stupid. They're just so dumb. It's just
their year.
so stupid. And are they ever going to be better than this? No. Kopitar and Doughty are not getting any younger. And, like, they're going to trade Brant Clark away for a first. Like,
Oh, I forgot about that.
no hope. No hope.
Are you done talking
Now
about
I'm
Edmonton, LA?
Now I'm done.
Yes. Immediately proceeds to continue talking about Edmonton, LA. Okay, our second round series, there's Edmonton, Vegas, which is what I think is the
gonna be a fun one.
closest matchup. I think it's closer than Washington, Carolina is. And I'm saying Edmonton in 7, but that's the one where if any of them can go either way, that is the one that can mostly go either way. Vegas beat Edmonton 2 years ago. Edmonton's a better team now. I don't know if McDavid's going to be stopped. That's why I have them winning in 7. I think Vegas is a better team all the way through, and I don't think there's any way Aiden Hill is worse than Kemper.
Yeah, for me, I think that the thing is, for McDavid, the worst is over. For playing against a trap team defense, I think the worst is over. And they scored like 4 goals a game against the Kings. And the biggest thing is 5v5. For how many years have Oilers fans said, if away from McDavid, the Oilers just split even, they can beat anyone? I think they ran a 55% goal rate away from McDavid in that series. And that's more to say that it went to 6 and they actually held McDavid pretty well at 5v5. The Oilers' depth is finally getting it done. Finally. And Jeff Skinner's not even in the lineup yet. I don't know if he'll ever get back in. That's kind of been an underrated storyline, is he finally gets in, plays 1 game, gets an assist, actually plays pretty well, and is never heard from again. But he's still sitting there smiling on the sidelines. What a great guy. But this series is going to be decided by goaltending. We always say it with the Oilers. If Aiden Hill is as good as he was in 2023, this series is over and it's Vegas in 7. I think they'll make it very close. They'll make it very close, no matter what. Because I just, that Vegas blue line has a lot of cracks in it. I like Nick Hague. I like White Cloud. But Pietrangelo and Theodore, were looking rough against Minnesota. You could see it. They could not contain Minnesota's top players, Kaprizov, and I'm pretty sure McDavid is better than Kaprizov. So and McDavid always seems to have a night with Vegas, even if he loses, even in a loss. It's always at least 2 points. If the power play can click, it wasn't really clicking against the Kings, and I say that, and it was like 35%. If it can stay at 35%, maybe get a little bit better, and the penalty kill can recover from what was an awful series, at least from the goaltending side, I think it will be Edmonton, and it'll end pretty quick. It'll be a bunch of close games, but I think the Oilers just have they play to the game really well, especially their top players do. The one thing they need to look out for is the Kings did not really apply much forecheck pressure after Game 3, and you could see that Bouchard and Wallman and Klingberg's game, all 3 guys who really suffer from heavy forecheck pressure, and they don't perform that well when there's like 3 guys on them, especially. That's going to completely change against Vegas, and I think that's primarily where the Oilers need to look out for here is Bouchard going to be the game saver that he was in games 3, 4, 5, 6? Was he that good? Or is he going to be giving it away? Is Jake Wallman going to have moments? Is John Klingberg going to be the John Klingberg everyone imagines him to be? Or is Hayden Hill going to shut the door? So there's just a lot of ifs. It's going to be an interesting series.
Yeah, to add on to those ifs, I know, like you said, McDavid has their way with them normally, but I know 2 years ago in the postseason, again, like, it was McDavid. He wasn't contained fully, but he was still contained to a degree, and that's because they still have Eichel and Stone up there. Like, they still have very good defensive forwards that could easily contain McDavid to a point. And the thing about Vegas that's so interesting is that like on paper they don't really look that amazing forward wise. It's just that like they've already won with this core. Like these guys
Yeah.
know how to win. They have a system that has won. And then like you could also bank on a Theodore and Pietrangelo bounce back heading into the series too. Like I know they didn't look that good, but I wouldn't really put it by them to just figure it out and start playing well. I am just a little nervous about Aiden Hill because I feel like that was just like a trick pony type of thing, and that was a really decent reason they won against Edmonton 2 years ago. That and like you were saying, Edmonton's forward depth is just so much better this postseason. They aren't relying much on David. So I do think Edmonton edges this one out against Vegas. I would go Edmonton in either
What?
6 or 7.
Wait. They what now? What are they doing? They're doing what?
They're
What?
I think Edmonton is gonna get the best of them just by a teensy tiny bit, like this much. That's
Oh,
that's
okay.
what I said word for
Oh.
word.
Oh,
And I
yeah,
think-
yeah. Okay.
And I
yeah,
think
yeah.
Edmonton is gonna win in 6 and 7 because their forward depth is just a lot this year.
Yeah, the Oilers are recently, I mean, ever since last year, they've really learned, not at all in this regular season, but they've really learned to play a team game in the playoffs
Yeah,
in a way that
that's
they
huge.
had not at the time of that Vegas series. I think Woodcroft got insanely outcoached in that series. That's probably primarily the reason
That's
they
also
won.
no block.
Yeah, and yeah, Knobloch completely outcoached Hiller by
Yeah.
his own doing
Yeah.
or not.
It's an amazing point.
He made adjustments. He ran with Pickard. And that's another interesting discussion. I actually think they should start Stuart Skinner for game 1.
You're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that, but I see where you're coming from.
I don't.
Just try
What
it
the
out.
fuck
for
is
the
wrong
game.
with you?
Because you
I
can
wouldn't
always
do
go
it.
back to
Are
Pickard.
you
You
fucking
do-
stupid?
Yeah, that's-
if you
yeah.
put Pickard in game 1 and he sucks, what do? You have to go to Stuart Skinner.
You could switch then.
If Stuart
If you
Skinner
put Stuart
wins
Skinner in
game, one,
and he sucks, then you look like a fucking moron.
no, then you go to Pickard, and then it's like, all right, we got
Yeah.
Pickard, and he's our guy.
No, that's not how that works. Can you tell me by memory what Skinner's record was in Series 1 and what Pickard's
0-2.
record was in Series 1?
4-0. Do you think that Calvin Pickard is
Okay,
going to go
actually-
4-0 again?
I didn't know.
No.
I forgot
Oh, but do
Pickard
I think that Skinner could go 0-2 again?
I
Yes.
forgot Pickard started that early into the series. Yeah, low key.
There's no world where you start Stuart
Do
Skinner.
you
Yeah.
want to start an AHL backup 5 games in a row
Stuart
in the
Skinner's an
playoffs?
AHL backup.
Stuart Skinner is an ECHL backup.
Yeah, get it right.
Stuart Skinner wouldn't make it in beer league. Just because he is your starter doesn't make him an actual starter.
He had a couple
Just
good
fucking
games
no
against
one,
Vegas, especially
Stuart
this
Damn.
year.
Skinner would have
Coleman's
made
an
it
idiot.
behind the
Covered up
2000s
great.
Devils, bro.
The Gold Knights know Pickard too well from not playing after being taken in the expansion draft 7 years ago.
Can we end it?
Oh,
you put a-
hold on. We have to talk about Jim Rutherford's absolute tirade the last
No, we
couple
don't.
weeks.
We don't. Okay, the one thing I'll say about the Canucks, we have a coaching search. I hope that it goes to Malhotra. It's not going to go to
Oh, shit.
Carl now because he's re-signed with
What about Foot?
Denver. Malhotra, Foot, or Woodcroft, and I'm happy if they hire Laviolette. I'll kill myself.
Oh, it's gonna be
So,
Laviolette.
speaking of coaches,
Yeah, well, I don't know why you're so upset about getting Sullivan. I think he's a good coach.
it's
It just
another
didn't work out in
it's another
Pittsburgh.
guy that hasn't won anything in a while. It's another old guy that hasn't won anything.
Yeah, but he didn't
That'd be
really
fine.
have the tools in Pittsburgh at all. I feel like I think he can be okay. I would have been happy if
No,
the Canucks
like,
got
If
Sullivan.
he made a couple deep runs after he won the cup, sure. It's just that he didn't make it past the first round since 2017. When he did have the tools, he did not make it past the first round since 2007. So that's why I'm always wary. I'm always wary when they go up coaching carousel. I didn't want them to coaching carousel, and they did, so I'm against it. But I have to see how it works. Obviously, I'm just not too up.
Who did you want them to hire?
Fuck if I know. Fuck if I know. In all honesty, grab a guy from the NHL. I don't know.
I have
Somebody
the
new.
opportunity to complain when we hire Laviolette because I know who I wanted them to hire. I'm surprised Adam Foote has entered the conversation. I know he'd
Yeah.
been like looking to take one of the head coaching roles, but I didn't think it would be with Vancouver. I thought he'd dip along with Tocchet.
And one also thing I'm upset about with the Rangers is that they re-signed Chris Drury to 2 years after completely destroying the franchise. And just earlier today, the Kings fired Rob Blake.
Somehow Jim Hiller is still there. Although I
Yeah.
feel like he's not going to last a new general manager.
Rob Blake did such a good job. The whole entire PLD trade was really bad, and he somehow bounced back from that by acquiring Kemper. Rob Blake is a really good GM, so whichever team gets him, I'm really excited for. I really wish it could have been the Rangers, but unfortunately, Chris Drury is still our answer for some reason.
I don't think Rob Blake really made any wrong moves. It's just they maybe... I don't know. I mean, I didn't love a lot of their draft choices at all. I did like Byfield at the time, although it's very clear he's not going to be more than like a solid 1C. Not a true superstar, which is probably what they need to get over the hump for the Oilers. But again, yeah, it's not his fault. It's really not his fault.
Yeah.
He's just taking the heat for it.
I'm hungry.
I'm hungry too, so I think that's going to end this episode of Pacific Perspectives. I think it's been about an hour, 20 minutes. We will be back after round 2 to see a preview of the conference finals.
Not me. I'm not going to.
Not you. We'll have Rory, the person that we actually want.
All right, man.
Thank you for joining us, Peter.
I step up, and this is the fucking treatment I get.
I'm not the dad I'm not the step dad that's...
Yeah, you gotta give up, bro.
All right.
I'm not the step podcast guest. I'm the podcast guest that stepped up.
There we go. All right, that'll do it for Pacific Perspectives Podcast, episode 29. We will see you all next time.